Good evening, Town of Prescott Valley, and welcome to tonight's Park and Rec's regular scheduled meeting for August the 11th. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Parks and Rec August 11th. Kathy, can we have a roll call, please?
Chairperson Polican?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Pierce?
Here.
Commissioner Gummer?
Yes.
Commissioner Byram?
Present.
Commissioner Gorman?
Present.
All right, sounds like we're all here in attendance. For item number 3, we'll move on to approval of the agenda, but before that, we're looking at moving item number 9A on the agenda and putting it as 5B. With that amendment, I seek for a motion for approval of the amended agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, next one is going to be approval of minutes for the June 9th, 2020 meeting. That was a regularly scheduled meeting here. I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 9th regular meeting.
Second.
I will second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I hear none opposed. That one carries as well. We'll move on to scheduled announcements with classes, programs, and special events. I feel like my mic's super loud.
My apologies, Commissioners. We did also have an approval of minutes from the July 7th executive session meeting. I believe that were distributed to you all. If we could have a motion and approval of those minutes, staff would be greatly indebted.
July 7th?
July 7th, yes, sir.
Okay. So we're looking for a motion for July 7th, the executive meeting. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed. Moving on to our scheduled meeting. Anything else, Brian? No curveballs? Okay.
No more curveballs, at least I hope.
Way to jump on that one. All right.
All right, so just some quick announcements for upcoming programs, events, activities that we have. Here are some of our classes. We have some September sessions that are being announced. This is one of our karate sessions that are held on Monday evenings. We host them here on the Civic Outdoor Lawn. These are for ages 5 and up, and it's $25 per session. We also have a Total Body Tuesday workout and activity, Tuesdays from 5:30. Again, outdoors on our patio for ages 18 and up, $3 per class. And Fitness Express, this is one of our new classes. This is a combination of cardio, isometrics, and Pilates. 7:30 a.m., ages 16 and up, $3 per class. And of course, with all of our programs, services, special events, and activities, you can give us a call at 759-3090. Visit us on the web at pvaz.net. We've got a beautiful little parks button about midway through the page that'll direct you to us, and you'll be able to see our whole listing of program services and upcoming.
If I could say something about the class, the Pilates class. I know
Yes,
a
ma'am.
couple of ladies who have been in that class. I believe it's on Saturday morning, and they say the class is not for sissies. It's
We're ready.
all right.
All right.
They love it. I know.
Good information. Yes, we've had great positive feedback on those, and you know what? It's been fun getting back outdoors again. Where traditionally these have been inside with us, so there's been a lot of neat and fun feedback on that too.
Just as a little side note, my son had partaken in the karate sessions through August, and it's $25 for the entire month.
Yes,
Yeah, so
that
that's
whole
nice.
session, it's really handy.
It's pretty handy.
Without a doubt. In addition, I wanted to give you all an update. This is more or less our traditional postseason schedule at the pool. We all recognize the pool was a unique summer experience out there in regards to our schedules. We had online registration opportunities, which we thought was a pretty creative way and I think very functional. I encourage folks to continue utilizing that into the future. But our postseason schedule started right at the end or beginning of August. This is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday availability, August 3rd through September 25th. We have lap swim at 7 a.m. No pre-registration is required, but it does have a maximum capacity of 12. Then at 8:15 is our aqua aerobics. You can register online. This is limited to 30 individuals in there for the registration online, and then only 5 spots for in-person show up the day of. Hence the maximum capacity of 35. You didn't think I'd catch that math, did you, Buzz?
I was wondering.
Yeah, I know it. Then Bradshaw Mountain High School is scheduled to arrive with us on August 17th. They'll continue out then their season through October 30th, or if other things come first, they're practicing in the afternoon with swim meets scheduled for September 3rd, 10th, and October 1st. And that will also have limitations for those that will be in attendance as well. May even be reduced simply to the teams. So we'll see how those numbers all come into play. But this is reflective of our traditional postseason schedule in providing those services. We also have a really cool lineup of not only concerts but cornhole tournaments. These will be held here at the Theater on the Green, located at the Civic Center. Our schedule consists of August 22nd. This is a social tournament, $20 per team. Had a huge markup, so sorry about that. 4:30 to 8 p.m. on that 22nd date. Live music from Maxwell T. and the MGs, I'm guessing. I cannot read that. I apologize. August 29th is another tournament, $20 per team. Live music by the Hit Squad at 7 p.m. And then September 19th is our competitive tournament. So we've got you warmed up twice. Now you're ready to go for the big cash prize. $50 entry per team and live music from Atomic Surf that'll be scheduled for 7 p.m. Pre-registration is required for each team for our Bags and Bands event. And you can do that again, giving us a call or visiting us online. So we would appreciate seeing you soon. We're located on the 3rd floor if you'd like to stop by in person here at the Civic Center. Next is a call to artists. Our Art and Culture Commission is getting busy and they wanted to cross-pollinate with you all. So staff created this slide for an opportunity for those artists that are out there in our community to consider their entry in the Prescott Valley Fine Art Showcase, which is titled Building Community. Miss Isabella Tuning can be reached at 759-3127 for greater details, or you can give her an email, and that is ituning@pvaz.net. Next, September 26th, please put that in your calendar. This is our 2020 Run for the Hill of it event as we go right up Glassford Hill on Summit Trail and back again. We have awesome panoramic views all the way up to the top, and this is an event that is a fun run. Enjoy the trail at your own pace. Hikers, walkers, runners, you name it. Registration August 1st through the 25th is $20 for 16 and up. Under 15 is $15, but the day of the run, if we have availability, is $25 for 16 and up, $20 for 15 and under. This is a 4.6 mile event, and you will ascend almost 1,000 feet. So tons of fun. If you've not been up here, it's a fantastic vista up there. Really be able to check out the town and our adjoining community to the west. So beautiful.
Sheer curiosity, do you know the start time that they're scheduled?
Start time on this, I think there's slotted blocks to be able to accommodate groups as we go through. And that concludes our announcements for our programs, services, and special events.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate
You're welcome, sir.
Next up, we have our moved item for Reg Destry from Destry Development. Good to see you again, Reg.
It's nice to be back.
Last time we saw you on the old computer, so it's nice to see you in person.
Yes. So, I'm convenient. I was actually in town for another meeting today, so I was excited to see that we could actually be in person again. So, I just wanted to kind of give a follow-up, I guess, on where we're at. And see if you have any questions. I know that information has been shared. My name is Reg Destry, working with Verizon Wireless, in case any of you don't recall. We are looking at putting a site at the Community Center Park. That site is meant to cover that area and help offload a site we call Leibniz, which is at the Mountain Valley Park. So what we've got in front of you is, oh, sorry, I was going to open it. Yeah, I saw it spinning to no end. I don't trust computers. Oh, well.
That's okay.
Do you happen to have the materials in front of you at all? I was going to open up the drawings, the
I don't
photo
believe we
simulation.
do,
Okay.
for the most part, but I kind of remember the center location there for that light and then
Okay.
the aspects you were talking about and then all
I
the,
have a printout with me if anyone would like to see it on paper.
any questions? Yeah. Good? Continue, I guess we'll just move past the technical difficulties and anything else you need to add or concerned or address?
Not really. We're proposing it to be rusticated. That was kind of the feedback I got at the neighborhood meeting. We sent out notices to 168 people. About 20 showed up. We got a couple folks in support. One gentleman didn't like the idea, thought it was an eyesore. I explained why we picked this type of site versus a tree or some other different type of enclosure or structure. Oh, there we go.
Perfect.
And so I don't really have a whole lot else to add beyond what you've been provided for.
What does rusticated mean?
It means rusted. If you look at power poles, like if you go out up toward the mountain and you go, there's a bunch along the road past the fairgrounds, and it's a finish that is a reddish brown. They literally treat it and it rusts. It actually helps protect the metal, and the reason we like it, first of all, it's low reflective, so it's not shiny. It also doesn't have the problem. If we paint things, we can make them any color, but paint peels off.
Sure does.
And that rusticated look, it stays the same. That's the same reason like APS uses those rusticated poles. That's kind of where we stole the idea from.
Good. Any questions or concerns from the commission in all in regards to the proposed cell phone tower?
I just think it's a great thing for us, and I can't see really having too much difficulty with the whole situation, and I say let's go forward.
Yes, from a staff perspective, Mr. Destry and his company have met all the required obligations, hence meeting with the community, also the community announcement and our previous meetings. So staff recommendation would be, if the commission so saw it as being viable, their recommendation then to council, that staff and Mr. Destry would then make that formal application for their ultimate and final determination.
Reg, was there anything, I know you had the presentation pulled up, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to point out specifically in there? I think it actually loaded now.
No.
Okay. That's fine.
Actually, I have one
Perfect.
question.
Oh, yes.
Is this 5G or 5G compatible when the time comes?
The site, when it is built, will be built with 4G. It doesn't currently have 5G. That requires with Verizon a separate set of antennas, and currently Verizon's 5G is very near field. So if, for instance, if it were to go on this site, the 5G antenna, it covers a fairly small area for the time being. But really user experience on 4G is pretty similar in an area like this.
Great.
So,
Very good. All right, well, I'll seek to make a motion to move this on to council for Parks and Rec Commission to recommend to move to council. Any additional conversations or questions? Hearing none. Seeking for that motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and forward the cell tower application recommendation in the community center park.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. I hear none opposed. We'll consider it to be passed and moved on to council at their next meeting. I think it's the 18th. Is that correct? 27th, sorry. My weeks are all mixed up.
thank you.
So we'll be looking for the 27th meeting, and I believe you'll probably be back then, I imagine, to
Well,
answer the questions they might have.
We have to work with council at all links, and then we finish up, we get the lease together in a final form, and then it's presented to the council.
Very good. And we appreciate the
take a
conversation
while.
and information that you had for us tonight and in the previous meeting as well. So thank you so much, Reg, for your time.
Thanks again.
Congratulations.
All right. So we'll move on to, looks like we got department updates. First going to be the director report from Brian here. And I'll wait for the computer system to get back running.
In your packet tonight, you have both the reports from the month of June as well as July, and then also the statistical data. I would be happy to answer any questions based upon your reviews. There's quite a bit of data on your agenda tonight, so I don't want to overly clutter it. But could happily add any review, update, or clarity to either one of those months' reports. But with that, I had no further comments.
Any questions at all for Brian from the commission at all on the reports? All right, hearing none. I think we're good to go in that regard. All right, next we'll do a chairperson report. That's me, I take it. So we'll, this being my first meeting, I don't have much prepared in regards to an actual formalized statement, but I'll just kind of go off the cuff. You know, living in this community for a period of time now, I've come to enjoy the amenities that it has to provide. And this year's been a challenging year for the Parks and Rec department as well. But they have succumbed numerous odds and numerous ends to make achievable goals for activities, as well as, you know, the recreational swim. My family has enjoyed a vast majority of them, and I'd just like to say thanks to the Parks and Rec department as a whole, and the town of PV to put together a good package for our community that we can be proud of as a commission here and as a community. So I just want to say thank you, and from there we'll move on to the next one. Unless anybody else has anything to add or questions for me.
I concur.
I agree. We've been very fortunate this year with the difficulties we have, that our parks are still up to the standards that we expect them to be, and the guys have done great, and we've been very lucky.
Been very blessed with this community for sure. All right, well, with that being said, we'll move on to tree advisory, and I'll kind of leave this off to the next meeting. I don't really have much to report. Buzz, do you have anything in regards to this? I know you kind of headed that up in the past.
Everything has been submitted. With the COVID, everything got set back. We've kind of, everything is in place, and it has been forever.
Well, kudos to the committee itself. They've created a 5-year plan and window and process there. So that has made it convenient. COVID has not. So all of those factors are in place for a renewal process. Actually, Nick and Jason are working on a program now for tree planting over at Santa Fe Station with some donation dollars that are available to us. So that's going to be a nice part of our application. So we'll meet that one particular component of things. What I would like to be able to do is have a degree of flexibility being continued, if you would, please, by the committee. It just will allow COVID to do a little bit more of removing itself from our lives, and then we'll get those parties started. Much beyond that, on behalf of the committee, Mr. Nick Wroblewski reported today that he has completed all of our community challenge grant elements for reimbursement. So we're very excited about that, of having it fulfilled and complete and done on schedule. So kudos to him and his team there. So we'll be able to have that completed, which will give us another gold star moving forward with our applications in the future.
Very good. Awesome. Well, with nothing else to add for the tree committee or the tree advisory board, we'll move on to old business. Item A for Jason Elmer. Is that how you say your last name, Jason? I hate to butcher people's last names. So
it's Elmer.
Elmer. Like
Elmer's in Elmer's glue. Elmer Fudd.
Oh, I gotcha.
Elmer's fudge. It's Elmer.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. So any old business for us at all, Mr. Elmer?
Well, the NJCAA Men's Soccer National Tournament was going to be held here in Prescott Valley this year. Unfortunately, due to COVID, they have canceled their season, and we will no longer be holding the national tournament. I do not know at this time what that does for us going in the future. I believe it'll come back to us in the near future once we have, let's say, rid ourselves of the COVID-19, but at this time it's not been discussed when it will come back to us. Santa Fe Station Park construction update. Purchase orders have been placed. Rip Wrap, large rock for runoff areas, has been purchased and will be getting delivered here within the next week. We're going to be placing several tons of riprap on the hillsides there to try and mitigate the runoff and into the service road that we have currently built there for the utilities department. We'll continue moving forward with some other rock, some other landscaping materials as we go forward. We're currently leaning on the Parks Division to perform the work. We were not successful in contracting out the work in June as we had hoped. Arizona Game and Fish Department Heritage Grant Award. We did it again. We were awarded the grant. It was given to us so that we could do some work on our aeration systems and for our fishing. And now we're looking at doing an install at the urban lakes, which Game and Fish likes to refer to as the Yavapai Lakes. And when we do this, we're going to be laying some pipe in there so that we can activate the waterfall, so we can have that water feature running continuously, so water will be fed from upper lake to lower lake and give us some aeration and some water movement. That should take place here in the next year. I mean, we're going to get to it as fast as we can. We've got a little bit on our plate these days. Things are moving still, even with COVID. Lots of tournaments, lots of projects. Fane Park needs to get some attention too. So we're going to be getting it worked in here just as soon as we can. Fane Park is also going to get some work. The water pump, the pump for the waterfall, part of the Heritage Grant was for that also. So we'll be doing some work there.
It's always nice to have a couple good water features within those elements.
It is. It's a huge element of the fishing program. We have to aerate that water. The oxygen levels are very, very important to the fish. If we're not turning up the oxygen and cranking it out, the fish won't survive.
Yep, that's awesome. Well, good to see we got awarded the grant and moving forward with some projects there for those two locations for the community fishing projects. So those are good.
And it's very popular fishing right now.
It is.
Every time you drive by, people are just out there fishing. It's up. And one of the top things in our master plan, as a matter of fact, was fishing. Every age group.
I have a question about the fish. When you're fishing, do you have to throw the fish back, or can you take it home and eat it?
You can take it home and eat it. These fish come from a fish farm, so to say. Some of them are raised in hatcheries here in Arizona. Some of them come all the way from Arkansas.
Really?
And those fish are
What kind of
edible.
fish come from Arkansas?
Pardon?
What kind of fish come from Arkansas?
Catfish.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Strong.
Razorbacks.
Yeah. So those fish are edible.
Okay.
Jason, on going back to Santa Fe Park construction, would we be able to have volunteers help?
We can always utilize volunteers for assistance in this. Right now we're using large, heavy equipment to do the majority of the spreading for the riprap, but as we get into the smaller rock and we get into the smaller landscape materials, we could utilize volunteers for that type of work.
So we could maybe post that and invite volunteers, or maybe over the hill gang, stuff like that?
Correct. We could look at adult probation, juvenile probation also, any of those organizations that are looking to fulfill hours. I don't know what's going on with them right now during the COVID-19, but I imagine people still have probation hours to serve. So I bet you they're doing something.
Sure.
Very good. Any other questions at all for Jason in regards to old business, any of those three items we had? Those are some good updates for us all, and if nothing being heard, we'll move on to the new business, being the Raymond Jenkins, I hope I said this right, bequest?
Yes.
I hope I said that right.
So it was introduced at our executive session meeting that we had in July, that the town was a recipient, and we've also promoted that in the newspaper, that the town was very, very fortunate in regards to $500,000 was being shared with the town. It was also directed to the Parks and Recreation Department, so that was extremely exciting. As you also well know, and what we also shared with our community, that it was divvied in two separate ways. One of those particular ways lies with the Parks and Recreation Commission, in which you all expressed your interests as it relates to reflection on the town's master plan, the department's master plan, taking that analysis, review, and reflection. And there was a variety of points that were shared. I know some of members of the commission would also like to reflect their vantage points. But what staff will also be asking of the commission is to give that guidance. Mr. Elmer is here with us this evening. He will be charged with the management of that particular project, of those that you would be then in turn providing as a recommendation. That recommendation would be taken to council for their approvals so that staff can start putting the action plans and documentation and what have you that might be required for whatever project deemed fit to make that begin moving forward. Because it would be highly anticipated that that project would be completed within the current fiscal year, which ends in June. And depending upon that scope and scale, perhaps even advancing well before June as well, too. But we would be looking for your commentary, your feedback, as well as then ultimately your direction of recommendation for council that we would then present on your behalf. So with that, staff removes itself from the floor, but is happy to answer any questions. Jason, I can help you out with any of those particular items.
I'll open up to the commission for any discussion or conversation over the Raymond Jenkins biscuit.
I'll start off with this. So at the meeting, the executive meeting we had, we were informed that we were given this money, and it was proposed to us a splash pad at Bob Edwards Park. And so in our master plan, I looked up, and there is a need for aquatics, and a splash pad kind of fits that aquatic need. And there was 3 sites that were suggested in our master plan: Civic Center, Bob Edwards, and Antelope Park. So if we break down the 3 sites in our master plan, the Civic Center, Arts and Culture is going to use their money to update their artwork around the Civic Center. So I thought to myself, well, if we put a splash pad there, because what the main focus with this is for Mr. Jenkins to be remembered, a legacy for 50 years or more. So I was thinking to myself, okay, well, if he's doing all of this in the Civic, we could put a splash pad in the Civic Center and name that after him, something like that, a plaque. And I thought, he has so much artwork already in the Civic Center, and is a splash pad really a fit in the Civic Center? So then I looked at Bob Edwards. Bob Edwards, very popular park. A lot of people see it when they go by. There was room there that they had said there was going to be a handball court or some kind of a court in Bob Edwards Park. And Bob Edwards is already a very popular park. It doesn't have to have a draw. And when I thought about the hierarchy, the legacy, I thought, well, people aren't going to say, let's go to Bob Edwards Park because the Raymond Jenkins splash pad is there. So then I looked at Antelope Park, and I thought, Antelope Park is the northern section of town. More homes are being built that day. If you remember in our master plan, they presented we need to have more amenities toward the backside of our town for the people moving out there. Easy access to get out there to that park. And it's a nice park. Plus, we could actually rename that park the Raymond Jenkins Park, which takes that legacy until the town is gone. So my first thing was, let's put this splash pad out at Antelope Park and rename the whole park after Mr. Jenkins for his legacy and his wonderful donation. So then I thought after that, if the council wants to go in a whole different direction, according to our master plan, hiking, biking, and walking was a very high priority still in our master plan. So if they decide to go a different direction, I thought maybe we could construct another trail and name a trail after Mr. Jenkins. So that was my main thoughts about the whole thing. And really, I know that we were presented Bob Edwards, and I thought, no matter what happens, it's a win for our town. No matter what the council decides, we still win, because we're going to get a splash pad somewhere or a trail, something to remember Mr. Jenkins by. But I thought with the legacy, the best thing we could do was maybe put it in a park with its own name of Mr. Jenkins.
I couldn't agree more in regards to both those elements of both options. The idea of a splash pad in that northern section of town seems to be a wonderful addition to that area, a well-needed one. The distance that it has from, like, say, Mountain Valley in regards to aquatics is vast. Not something that you can just leave your community, walk on a bike, or make a quick trip and make your way down to Mountain Valley. That community up there seems to be a bit, I would just say, depleted of those types of options. To add that splash pad to that local park there, or I guess it would be a community park, not quite a community park, but a local park or neighborhood park, would be a great improvement for that general area. With the addition of, I guess, the recommendation for looking at renaming the park in the future and going down those guidelines and doing so.
Because that was the biggest priority, was his legacy.
Correct.
That was more or less what I caught from this meeting, was we want this man's legacy. And for what he did, he needs to be remembered. And, if we have a splash pad at a park, it's going to be a destination. People are going to go there once they know there's a splash pad here. We're going to drive that. I want to take the kids to the splash pad. I don't care how far it is. I'm going to go there and play on the splash pad. So it's going to be a destination. So, like I say, we're still going to win the game because we're getting something from Mr. Jenkins that we can very much appreciate for citizens of our community.
Very good. Anything else? Any ideas or thoughts in regards to the funds?
If we're going to name a park after him, that's pretty cool. I was wondering, though, as I know a little bit about the funds, if there might be more funds for maintenance down the road for that park if we're going to name it after him. Is that being greedy? I don't know.
Funding for the park would continue to be the same level that it's been historically, regardless of the name. So at this time, we haven't had any additional funds be directed to us through the endearment bequeathed to us. However, you would expect a increase for maintenance of the spray pad at that facility. So there would be an increase to the budget there. You are correct.
Jason, do you think the logistics of parking would support the increase if it does indeed become destination? I mean, it's a good problem to have. But
At Antelope Park?
Yeah. Do you think currently?
Okay. So, I mean, let's just talk.
Okay.
Okay. Antelope Park has two main lines that are directly related water lines that are within reach of where we would probably place the spray pad. They are water lines that could be tapped before we would hit our meter system, so we wouldn't end up rendering our system inept. Okay, so infrastructure-wise, Antelope offers a lot of positives. We would have to spend less money on the infrastructure to install a spray pad there. We do have ample parking at Antelope Park, so we would be able to meet the demand for both utilization of the fields and of the common areas and of the spray pad, in my opinion.
Have you done a study at all on Bob Edwards? Would it be more expensive if we did, or even the Civic Center for that matter? Have we done a comparison as far as expense-wise of the three different sites?
We have discussed it internally with our park supervisor, and we know what our utilities are in our facilities. We have a very large water line at Bob Edwards Park, but we have a master valve that controls so that it only puts water in the pipe when we are running our irrigation. It helps protect us from having blowouts, from having large water leaks. If we were to tie into that water line, we would have to render the master valve useless because we would have to be able to utilize it. So there are options. We may need to discuss tapping a new meter out at the road and bringing in a meter with the new water line, or looking into what type of water demand we need. We may be able to tap off of the meter that comes from the restroom. If we have to put in a new meter, we got to start talking some impact fees, and there's going to be a cost associated with that. So can definitely put one at Bob Edwards Park. There's nothing that would stop us from doing that. We would just have to probably invest a little bit more in the infrastructure, and you may not see
Big amenity return.
a grander spray pad than you might get at Antelope, where we have amenities and we have utilities that are at our disposal that are a little bit easier to get to.
Wow.
So Antelope Park overall is going to be easier and cheaper to install a splash pad than.
Now, I do not know that. I
right
would
now, Jason.
believe that we have the infrastructure there to meet the demand. However, once you start breaking ground, who knows what happens? You know, we could end up needing some sort of underlayment or something there that needs to be utilized. So I would imagine that we may get more bang for our buck going to Antelope, but I can't say that Bob Edwards should be off the table.
Very good. Well, lots of things to think about in regards to those 2 areas or 3 areas in regards to the potential splash pad. Any conversations or topics about connective trails and or options for hiking or biking?
One more before we.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry about
Have you studied size of area at Bob Edwards compared to Antelope or Civic? Would we get the same size splash pad, easy fit in all?
At this time, it's still very early on in the process. We're looking, we haven't really put a size to the price type thing yet. But I think that we could fit what I imagine and envision as a spray pad. I would fit at either facility.
Okay, and as far as our trails, I mean, it was very high priority in our master plan as
Right.
we went through. Just about every age group was looking for more hiking, biking, walking. I don't know where we would put a trail. I'm not going to get into that as far as, because I don't know the land rights and blah, blah, blah.
Correct. That's a whole another project. Yeah.
But if council decides the splash pad's not going to be feasible and maybe a trail would be, and name a trail after Mr. Jenkins, again, and then have hikes up that trail in summertime or whatever and make events and get his name out there and remember things like we're going to run the hill and
Very good.
connectivity, something.
Any other concerns or comments in regards to the funds allocation?
I like the Antelope Park option, but I also like the trail option from the standpoint of cost down the road. It seems like it would be less expensive to maintain the trail than it would be the splash pad.
Yeah, you almost have more of an initial type approach versus a continuous yearly annual and potentially pump replacement and what have you for any other associated maintenance costs.
Yeah, and I think the only conversation point on that would be dependent upon what location you were mentioning in regards to property that we do own or don't own, those procurement costs, and then the development costs. And could those development costs range based upon the type of trail as it is planned and available? Could range from a natural all the way through, as we know, with our multi-use paths, concrete, or even some of our Stone Ridge paths and portions of the pipeline path that are asphalt as well too. So those could all have bearing effects in regards to distance or any other aspect that comes through that. You also mentioned the Over the Hill gang and volunteers and those types of things, so that could help maybe alleviate some of those different types of fiscal impacts that we can look at. So
I would think the only thing that would maybe hold that up would be a delay of time getting built when we kind of seem like this is an urgent thing we want to try and, if I understood at the meeting, we
yes,
want to try
you would be
this in a
correct.
timely
Yes,
manner.
yes, sir. You sure would.
Until we look at who owns what land. and
Right,
what we-
right.
That might delay a whole project too.
Exactly. We have the property at the park locations, and then going through those procurement processes and those types of things. Hence the sought recommendation from you all this evening to then present to council, because that would give Jason that trigger moment to be able to go through those processes, development of the packets, and then go through the bidding processes, because that would be then coming back to you for selection purposes, all those types of good things. So, yeah, we would need to be active sooner than later.
Brian, is there any feasible way? I know we've, I don't know if we've opened this idea up, but the idea of having more than one location potentially to add the splash pad to in regards to the funds? Would that be stretching the budgets too far? Would that be something that's not feasible or?
I think some of the points that Jason brought up, those are going to be some of those future discoverables that could have that impact. But if I'm understanding you correctly,
like a Bob Edwards and Antelope location,
advocating whatever the dollars and cents would drive to split between the two sites.
Infrastructure and
sure. If the commission
designs.
would like to look at those types of recommendations, that would be something we could also share with council as well.
Any thoughts on that from the?
Yes, I do. When we had our meeting about it, I'm trying to remember exactly. At the Civic Center, they said that there is a pad there for a future water spout thing. That reminds me of a splash pad. Couldn't you combine that?
It's a little bit different.
So that kids could...
Yes, I see what you're saying. There definitely is some playability, if you will. Its functionality would not be the same. I would not think
probably
that
wouldn't be an all-day thing, or an hour after hour. Kids can play forever.
Yeah, that particular element would be continual. It most definitely would. But in comparison to what a spray pad does and how it functions, it would not have any correlation.
Combine it somewhat.
No, ma'am. No.
That's too bad, because if you're going to have that water coming out.
Yes, I understand.
It's such a magnet for children.
It is. It is, without a doubt.
How are you going to keep them out of it? That's what
you don't. That's a parental item. And sometimes even the big kids may have that issue.
True.
To further your conversation, though, Chairman, in regards to splitting, the possible outcome, I have no confidence in regards to this statement being 100% accurate, but it may also, splitting between two sites may also not give you much pizzazz,
Gotcha.
if you will.
Yeah, features and options or size.
Yes, and that level of engagement, that excitement, that if you put all of your eggs in that one basket, and I know this is a 50-50 shot on how you really want to look at this, but I think if you wanted to make that statement, you wanted to have high-level playability, engagement, positiveness, all those types of things, we may be cutting our nose off to spite ourselves by splitting it.
If you cut the budget in half, you also lose half the amount of pumpability and the high grade pump or whatever you're putting in. Yeah.
But conversely, if something was mechanically or something else, you have another location. So it's a duality there. We have the same experience at the pool, too. And when something happens, we have to deal with it, treat it, remedy it, and be able to move forward. I think the functionality of a spray pad and the possibilities, there's two, what do we call it? Systems of engagement. There's a recirculatory and a pass-through. Those are the two models. Am I saying those terms? Right, okay.
Pass-through would be most.
He's the master on this.
Pass-through would be the option that we'd prefer.
Yes, pass-through would be that option, so if there was something, it can be put back into service much quicker.
Easier for decontamination and
yes, sir.
cleanliness of water and usability.
Exactly, those types of things, and being able to extend playabilities as well. So there's a multitude of gamuts to look at, and we could share that information with council as well in regards to this site, that site, both sites, pros and cons, those types of things. But I'll leave that up to you in regards to narrowing that bandwidth to be able to help move that agenda forward. So.
And for me, it's the legacy. That was the main emphasis, the legacy. So instead of split two splash pads, let's make a big, beautiful splash pad in a place where the people come and go, wow, this is an awesome thing what Mr. Jenkins did for this town, no matter where it goes. Like I say, we're going to win. But, I would really like to see us open up more to the backside where people are moving and we don't get a lot of traffic at Antelope because people are it's off the beaten path. But if they know there's a Ray Jenkins splash pad out at Antelope Park, they're going to say, hey, let's drive to Ray Jenkins Park and check out this splash pad.
Right. And I think another thing to look at as well in the same, I guess, idea is any structural or any improvements that can be made to the park in regards to ramadas and or play sets or anything of that nature that would be more beneficial in addition to the splash pad to kind of bring that park up to a standard, I guess?
I think both particular park locations have similar amenities. One has the sports and athletics that actually is a baseball, softball, and soccer out at Antelope, where we have soccer, football over at Bob Edwards. Both of them have playgrounds. Both of them have exactly the same ramada. That's available. Matter of fact, Antelope has a couple more that is available out there. Parking, Bob Edwards has a little bit more.
How much?
Yeah.
It's a big strip there at Antelope.
It very, very much is. So I think there's win-wins from all of those different capacities. And even if there's still the desire from our pickleball community, as you remember back in the day, that was a designated site out there. So that impact, because this would be more than likely 2 different locations and separated, so that could be handled as well.
I guess one thing that comes to my mind when it comes to Bob Edwards, I frequent there often, is the idea of walking around the facility in a nice environment.
Yes.
Whether your son's playing or kids are playing soccer at an organized event, you can go on a walk with your family. Does Antelope have the option to make that a more desirable trail, whether it would be a simple improvement or a moderate improvement?
I think a simple improvement. It is extremely costly to do some of those original developments that we had the luxury of being able to do at Bob Edwards with the 10-foot wide and those types of things. But there is a walking path there, so maybe some moderate improvements
Very
there
good.
too.
Well, I like the idea. If there's any more discussion on the idea, I'll seek for a motion.
Well, just one more.
Go ahead.
And there's also a school out there.
Go ahead.
So those school kids are going to see that splash pad, and that word's going to spread like wildfire. And if we have Jenkins Park, the new park with the splash pad, there's a legacy that I don't think will be forgotten in this town. Because like I said before, a lot of people aren't going to say, let's go to the Ray Jenkins splash pad at Bob Edwards Park. I think he's going to be forgotten in that Bob Edwards area, is what I believe.
In the plaque, yeah.
Yes, and I, if we name Jenkins Park, his legacy goes on.
Very good. The only thing that comes to my mind, just thinking about Bob Edwards versus Antelope signage, would that be another version? Like if we, I guess, made the recommendation, the signage is to be updated at Antelope to make it more the town standard, that beautiful design that you guys have created for that. I think that's a wonderful piece if that was the case.
Very much so. And that would probably be the only extenuating circumstance that would need to happen is change in signage based upon change of name.
And then other stuff behind it. Okay. Anything else in regards to? Hearing none. I'll seek to make a motion in regards to, let's see if I get this right here, the Raymond A. Jenkins bequeath. Looking to make a motion for a recommendation for council to add, did I say that wrong? Bequest, I don't know. Making a motion to council, recommendation to council for the addition of a splash pad, potential splash pad at Antelope Park.
Are we all in agreement with Antelope? I mean,
we can open that up for discussion, and we can.
I think maybe if we went down and got everybody's opinion on, I like Bob Edwards, I like Antelope.
Right.
Maybe we get a consensus, and then we can do a motion on one area.
A solid. Okay.
If the commission sought, if you wanted to say option A, option B, option C.
I like that.
That would be, and then therefore you would be saying your recommendation is such. So that I would leave that up to discussion as well.
Are we looking to give all 3 options to council?
I'm more than welcome to convey on your behalf.
Okay, I like that.
But if you all feel narrowing the bandwidth is a requirement, that is up to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Buzz, you have 3 options in your mind that you're looking to narrow it down to?
I'm just thinking 2 options.
Okay, me too. I'm thinking
park instead of civic, just parks.
I'm thinking
Antelope, Bob Edwards.
My idea is, in my regard, is top priority be Antelope. being a designated spot with a name change potential in the future, high potential. And then the idea of the second option would be to split, if at all feasible, those two locations, but that's just here nor there. And then my third option would be a Bob Edwards pad isolated only, if that's the option of council, I guess. Anything in your regards?
I think it is a win-win. We're not going to lose on this. I like the idea of as many options as make sense to us, because that gives flexibility to staff and council to really start to pencil out some of that, you know. I mean, we're a little seat of the pants here. It'd be better off if you had more analysis of actual costs and, you know, what the time frame is kind of pushing us. And so I agree with you. I would say Antelope would be my first. The combo I like as a second, and I still like the trail option just in case you couldn't afford to do it.
Okay. So the trail option being the third of your kind of choice? Anything for options-wise or concerns?
Well, I think Antelope A, Bob Edwards B. Splitting it is going to really complicate it down the road, maintenance for two little splash pads instead of one big one. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I would recommend Antelope for all the points Buzz made, then Trail, and then perhaps Bob Edwards. But the fact that the name discrepancy, I think would really, tarnish what Mr. Jenkins is trying to do and establish. So I would keep Bob Edwards for a distant third, if the Trail for B, and then like I said, Antelope for A.
You know, not considering or not even looking at the option in my own mind, I would like to rebuttal my choices. The idea of having Antelope first is of utmost priority. I do like the idea of having Trails as an option, but having Bob Edwards as third, I kind of like your platform there with discussion with the splitting of pads and all the infrastructure in regards to mains and master switches and whatnot, however that works out.
Sounds like a headache.
Yeah, it sounds like a process. You kind of agreeing with that, Buzz, that idea?
I'm thinking if we start throwing trails into council, when
It's going to get overlooked.
and they might look and say that, or some staff could come back and say that that's going to take longer than we want.
Our window, right?
Trail.
So I think we can, you know, it was brought to us to say we want to do a splash pad, and it's a need in a park, an aquatic need. So I think we go with option A as Antelope, option B, Bob Edwards, cut it short for council, make it easy for them.
Yes.
And then they can actually have time to look at it and say, I like the legacy idea of renaming a park, or we just want it in Bob Edwards Park.
I like the two options.
Could I offer this?
Of course.
For again, matter of consideration and reflecting exactly what you're saying, make this easy.
Yes.
Okay. So that process of splash pad, that's what's desired. Okay. So that is our recommendation.
And legacy.
With that recommendation can be legacy or Bob Edwards or a consideration of split between the two. If you do not like splash pad as an option, now let's consider trail as a probability, but we're recognizing that there may be longevity issues in regards to that process, hence why the recommendation for the splash pad to adhere to a fiscal calendar timeline. Does that sound like the reasonable presentation?
That sounds like what I was trying to say over the microphone, but you said it a lot more clearly and concisely.
Cool. All right. Back away.
And I like the idea. We keep it easy. Here, council, here's our thoughts. A, Antelope. B, Bob Edwards. I think a splash pad is going to be their main focus. And let's just give them, let's really hammer them with the option of Antelope because of the legacy. And we're offering new amenities to the growing area of our town and in our master plan. Remember how they told us the backside, you guys could start using more back here. And I really think if they would see that and hear that, they might all think, you know what, that's the place.
Okay.
Good thinking, Buzz.
This is always a thinker. Don't let the looks fool you.
Yeah, it's...
All right. I think we have a lot on our plate to put on this motion, but I'll try to concisely and put it together here. I will looking to accept a motion in regards to the Raymond A. Jenkins bequeast, in regards to Antelope being our top priority for splash pad, as a renaming option in regards to Antelope being renamed to that legacy account. Option B would be your Bob Edwards splash pad as well. So that we have two options in regards to what we could move forward with in council, and A being Antelope with the renaming option, and then B, our recommendation for the naming option, and B being Bob Edwards splash pad location. Any other further discussion before we accept any motions? Cool. Well, I'm looking to accept a motion, or seek a motion for what I previously stated.
I'll make a motion to submit to council two options for a splash pad. Option A being Antelope Park with the legacy of Mr. Jenkins as being renamed from Antelope Park to Jenkins Park. And then option B was to go ahead and just put a splash pad in Bob Edwards Park.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Gotcha.
So all in favor of Mr. Gummer's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing all in favor, none opposed, I would consider that to be a motion that was passed and be pushed on to council. Very good. Moving on here, we have the, let's see, 9C. This will be the annual park tour schedule development. Looks like we don't have a date or anything here.
So I'll take this. So every year we usually do a park tour, and we all get in a van and we drive around to certain parks around town, and we assess how the parks are looking, needs, wants, and with new commission this year, I think it's something we should probably all try and do. And it's usually on a Saturday morning. It's half the day. Brian will take us to some of the parks that he kind of filters down. Sometimes if we have time, we try and hit as many as we can. Other times it's ones Brian will filter down and say, we need to look at these 6 parks today. And then we go out and we see what we've done, we see what we need, and get ideas for what the future might bring. And it's a fun day, and I'll supply donuts.
When do we normally acquire that trip, that field trip of days? Is it
Really, Commissioner Gummer was basically reflecting from a historical perspective and wanting to make sure that this was getting placed on your calendar. So really, it can be a particular Saturday that's convenient, so we can put out a couple of different dates to review. Commissioner Gummer is exactly right. It can be broken down from a variety of different vantage points. Could be actions that we've taken, actions that need to be taken. Could also be reflecting on capital projects. Unfortunately, we don't have a high level of those capital projects, but Santa Fe Station could be one of those now that it's in its finishing positions right now of this current phase of its development. So we can look at a lot of those. That agenda can be developed also via input from commission. So we could do a survey. I can do that through correspondence with you all. Look at a couple of dates. We've looked at September, October as kind of that window of time. Right.
And usually it's like an 8 to 12 sometimes. Figure that time frame.
Yes, sir.
For those that haven't been on the tour before, like Buzz said, it's a good opportunity to get kind of the feedback from the Parks and Rec department and get an idea of what they're looking at, some of the situations or concerns that they have in the future moving forward. This has kind of been an opportunity where you say, hey, this infrastructure looks like it may need improvement, and then Brian says, yeah, it's on the capital replacement plan. And it's one of those kind of bringing it all together, because we don't get a chance to do this type of operation as you're driving around by yourself. It's a good opportunity to reflect ideas off of one another. I think it's a good idea to try to do this sooner than later in regards to the potential splash pad at any desired location, and have that conversation and kind of get your ears and eyes around it. I'll kind of look at some dates here. I don't know when the council meets in September. Is there particular dates when they meet in September?
On that particular time frame, really, we'll be taking your recommendations from your earlier motion.
Right.
We'll be taking those on the 27th of August.
Okay.
So really, it opens up that mid-September through October window. And I would encourage that September, early October process, typically because we start as a staff to look at budget development for the next fiscal year, which again goes back to that historical context that Commissioner Gummer was making sure that we were adhering to.
My idea is to fit it between like the August council meeting and the September council meeting during a Saturday period. So if they do move forward with the recommendation, we can talk about that site or
Yes.
talk about a site
Exactly.
before a next meeting and for them in regards to that.
Definitely.
It looks like for our regards, our next meeting in September is going to be the 8th, which would put us the second Tuesday there. Anybody have an idea or concept of the 12th of September? It would be the second Saturday. I know everybody doesn't have their calendar in front of them like I do, unfortunately, but it's a pretty quick one. It looks like it's about less than a month away.
Yes, we would be able to look at the 29th of August, then September 5th, and then September 12th, which would be after your...
Yeah, September 5th, I believe, is Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, that's no
Yeah.
big deal.
I mean, it's not a major action we need to go and see and then come back and say, oh my gosh, we need to jump on this.
Right.
But, and then also gives us the opportunity to see what the town has done.
Correct.
I went down to Fane Park and I've seen some different work down there and the things that's going on. Like, wow, when did they do this?
Right.
Good
So
idea.
it gives us a great opportunity to just go and see what we've done.
Sure.
And the guys, I mean, like I say, they work hard around here and some of the stuff goes unnoticed. This is our opportunity to just see things and come back and talk about it. And I think September 12th would be a great...
For the 19th, perhaps, would that be an option as well for anyone?
Don't see any reason why not. And if you'd like me to, I can put that survey out. Allows all of the commissioners to look at and reflect upon their schedule. And then as well, much like what Buzz pointed out, reflect on particular park locations that we might also like to look at. And that could even stem from, again, your analysis on the master plan process.
So let's move forward with the idea of having two dates. I think September 12th and September 19th being two acceptable dates. I don't foresee any holidays or anything of that nature to be interrupting those 2 days. Obviously, we'll social distance and be appropriate.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Take separate cars and Buzz.
Yeah, I'll ride in the back.
I would like to say that Elaine, and I believe it was in January, took me around one morning to all of the parks in our beautiful valley. Some I knew, but she said, I bet there's some you don't even know about. And there was, and so, it was really great. I did not get to thank her publicly for that because of the virus, but anyway, so it was very good. And I'm really excited about going and seeing them again and getting people's viewpoints and coming together because, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heads are much better than one.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm all for it.
All right, good deal. Well, we'll get that put together and seek your input as well.
All right, we have, moving on to item D for section 9 here. Under new business, we'll go to work study meeting. Brian, anything on that?
Yes, sir. Staff is requesting the opportunity to schedule a work study for commission. This would be on Tuesday, August 18th. That would be next Tuesday. For the purposes of review and response related to master plan elements. So that would be our subject for that work study. If that is sought, we'd like to gather at 5:30 in conference room 330 over at the Civic Center.
All right, I think that date works for most of us, I believe, in regards to that correspondence we've had, individually, of course. That idea. Go ahead.
Where did you say it's going to be?
Conference room 330, so it would just be down the hall from our offices.
Oh, from the office. I thought you said Civic Center, I'm thinking.
Yes, Civic Center, yes, ma'am.
Well, okay. I was
Yes.
thinking the event center, but okay.
Okay, so at August 18th, I'll look to, how do I have to say this? Emma. I seek for a motion for a potential work study August 18th at 5:30 at conference room 330.
I'll make a motion for a work study on Tuesday, August 18th at 5:30, conference room 330.
Have a second?
I second it.
All in favor? I think that computer said it for itself. I think hearing none opposed, we'll accept that as a work study for August 18th. With new business coming to a close, it looks like we have in the audience a unscheduled public appearance. And I got to read this disclaimer here, so bear with me. It says, let's see. Unscheduled public appearance. Those wishing to address the commission need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the commission as a whole and do not and not to any member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the chair. And we have one member in the audience tonight of the public. If you wish to give your name and address, and actually your name and address.
My name is Pamela Romero Giovanni, and is it okay if I take this off?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I am before you tonight. I'm not going to speak as eloquently as the other two gentlemen. I am wanting to engage in our community, especially with what's going on in our country, get people out and excited and take care of themselves, put themselves and their wellness above and beyond anything else. So, Ms. Kay, if I may, you made a comment about my Fitness Express. I didn't hear exactly what you said.
Oh, are you the instructor?
I am the instructor.
A couple of my ladies in my card group have gone to your class, and they were said they really felt it the next day, and so I just wanted to.
Oh, excellent!
I am the ears and eyes for the public that I come across.
When am I going to see you in my class?
Well, I have a background in fitness, and I actually do my own.
Okay, good girl.
But you may see me in one of your classes.
Oh, we have a blast. We have so much fun. Okay, so if you have all, Buzz, Bill, Brett, Kay, Scott, have looked at the little packet I gave you guys, let's start just right there, if I may, so you guys we can all go home and have dinner. If you guys have any questions, I would prefer that's how we start. I kind of laid it all out for you, each and every one of you. Basically, it's going to be from 8 to 11:30. I'm going to have group classes, everything from yoga to self-defense and in between. After that, there's going to be a downtime, and then I'm going to have K9 and the officer that takes care of the K9. It's going to be children's time. It's going to be from 11:30 to, 12 to about 1:30. And it's going to include the fire department, police department with the K9, EMT, questions and answer kind of thing. And then we're going to move on to the raffle. We're going to have a raffle. And hopefully I will get a bike donated. And then we're going to have what's called a cute little dance-off. There's a very famous dance right now. It's Jamaican, and you do these things, and then your sunglasses are on your head, and all kids do it, and they go like this, and then they go down. The glasses go down. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I will have that posted on my Facebook, both the song and the dance, and then after that, a little bit of downtime, and then live band from 2 to 5.
Okay.
And I'm reaching out to you guys. I'm hoping to get your sponsorship on this.
Okay. Any questions at all from the commission in regards to the Wellness Rocks event?
Rocks. What I'm talking about.
And commission, if you do have any items that you would like, I would be very happy, especially since this lovely lady is one of our current instructors right now. If you would like to have staff engage, go through a special event process in doing that, much like she's provided you with a fabulous handout in regards to all those different items, getting those pieces put together, and then also having the town review make that happen. We would be able to assist in that fashion if you would like.
And as you look at the aerial, the last page, we've got it pretty much itemized here, how it's going to go. The band, of course, on the stage. And when, fingers crossed, I get the beer and liquor, or just beer and wine, it's only going to be from 11:30 to 3:30. We're cutting everybody off before the end, at least an hour before the end of the concert. We're going to have food trucks out there. All along here where you see the pink dots, those are going to be various anything and everything that has to do with health, and including I'm going to bring in the Humane Society, a couple of vets, the Boys and Girls Club, just a whole, just everything. My goal here was to do whatever I can to bring the community and get us all back interacting, and not be scared of each other and not do anything. If COVID-19 proceeds to go into September, we will.
It's going to.
I agree with you. We will address the mask if it's going to be mandatory and whatever. I will need your feedback on that. I did want to ban weapons, but I was told I can't. And I also wanted to ban anything political because I just know it's going to start some kind of nonsense. So I could really use your feedback on that.
Very well. Your 5 minutes is up. That's how it rolls. You're perfect. It does go by super fast. We do appreciate the information.
I'm Italian, man. I talk a lot.
One thing we'll do is, like Brian suggested, is to move this to the Department of Parks and Rec and allow them, for the director and allow for the staff to review the process, and then they'll follow up with you in that regard.
Okay.
And we'll go down that route.
I apologize.
No, you're perfect, and
no.
you were right at it. So I just wanted to jump on it before we got too far in advance. So,
Okay.
yes. Anything else, Brian?
And of course, our town clerk's office would definitely like to be able to help give guidance, being that beer and wine as part of that process, to be able to assist those types of good things. So.
Well, thank you so much for the patience, and hopefully you enjoyed our.
No worries.
Our
And
meeting
just
today.
one more thing. I've already talked to the police department and the sheriff, and they said if there is going to be alcohol there, they will absolutely be there.
Oh, very good.
Without question, they
Very
will be
good.
there.
Boy, she's checking the boxes already. All right.
Hey, I got the canine already in my backyard.
Thank you for being patient.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. You have a great night.
What's your name again?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pam.
Pam. Okay.
Pam.
Okay.
Romero Giovanni, but Giovanni.
Pam
Thank
is
you,
better.
Pam. All right, our next meeting is going to be our work studies scheduled for August 18th. Our regular meeting is going to be September 8th at 6:30 here in the auditorium. With that being said, we're going to look at the dates in addition to the parks tour as well. We're going to do item number 12, move for adjournment. Do I have a motion to move for adjournment?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, hearing none opposed. Good night, Prescott Valley.